Peji Choshin Mezo Chom Rira Raji Tenpa Ji Sangayan Jojo
Yesterday, a quote from Aryadeva was discussed, which is on page 77 and 78 in the translation, page 319 in the middle of the Tibetan text. And the verse was, that which is, or this is the way I'm translating it, that which is the viewer of one thing is said to be the viewer of all. That which is the emptiness of one is the emptiness of all. Please discuss this. Does this process refer to both conceptual and direct realization of emptiness? So I kasangengi shigabelung ngobochiki tomba ngobochiki tao.
Oh, continue kuji tao.
Did dunji tsugi topa tang kasa ngunsum to pelo nika dunji tsugi topa tang ngunsum to pelo nika jagure tukire
ngunsum to pelo dang ta te thoma tawa ten la bebe tere dung topa man dung ngunsum ya mari thoma tere wa ne thoma tan te vet
indeed the young ngunsum to pelo jagure sa
di thoma di repeat la beti kala ani tedan ti thoma de kala thamba ngusum do yo marwa toba la cha choche ro thoma la beti kala la babi tendi ani ngusum do ti kala tin che marwa ro toni de kala ani che to toni che re toni mo so ba che tam je toni ngusum do tu gare ro 사탐부 친구군도 저기出去 도스 라 사디 사탐부라 친인데 제제 탐제를 군도 저기 出去 도스 와 돈 무슨 게 아니 제제만 보고 돈이 무슨 또 두고 하래 그때 말에 다 담보 때나 비디 간바 아니 시지기 돈이 때나 아니 대 누제 제바 거 봐라 맞아 봐 알지리 봐 tel라 때네
So the context in here, where it was discussed in the text, is principally in terms of, or it's really in terms of how thought operates. That is, that thought understands objects via the medium of concepts. So here, when you're establishing the view, initially, as a person is initially establishing the view, then it's necessarily the case that this is being done via thought. So initially, one, as the process was described up above, one identifies the object of negation and so forth, and then when one has used reason to establish the view that is actually the understanding of emptiness via the medium of a concept. So that's the beginning of it, of course, and then once one has accomplished that, then one can implement that in meditation practice and gradually develop perception of emptiness, meaning seeing emptiness not through the medium of a concept, but rather directly. So once that's achieved on the first bodhisattva stage, if one's following the bodhisattva path, then one can sort of use that understanding to be able, if one is now has a perception of the nature of things, their emptiness, then one doesn't need to sort of newly generate that with respect to every single object. Rather, one has understood emptiness sort of generally, and therefore is able to apply that direct perception knowledge derived from perception of emptiness to any other kind of object that one wishes to look at. Is Buddha included within persons? And the Tibetan here is Sangye and for Buddha and Gangsak for Tibetan. For Gangsak for person. A Buddha arises in dependence on having fully abandoned what is to be abandoned, fully realized what is to be realized, and is not an autonomous entity, etc. But is the Sangye Buddha included in person, or does this only refer to sentient beings or semchen? Then Sangye yang Gangsa Yorpes. Sangye. Gangsa Yorpe yang na semchen matok Gangsa Yorpes. Kan you say didn't show Gangsa ki drashedi Lenyungi Gangwa Dang.
Sanje Kansa Drashabar the Kangatans Mare. Drashabatam Hansaki. Kansa Gangala Drashet Jubachago Mare.
So yes, Buddhas are definitely persons. That explanation this morning, which takes which of the Tibetan word for person, which explains it in terms of being full of the mental afflictions and such, that's really just a way of talking about the word, explaining this word, but it's that sense of the word or that connotation of the word is not to be applied to all persons.
Oh yeah, that you call it so. Oh. Then the Chishin, then you Chishin to talk about touching the tower and Medemba soon be 10 cents. Jubale can't eat over 10 Rajuma, Toba de Taba mini band. Take it then you rebut the in it, Tang and Tawatata Joba chase. Gunjan can't be cheers. Over them, Gunjan, and it then you like Dana. Then you watch him with Gunjanji. And kanji over tenera juma say anu tanyadu anu kasora kasara soba kunzo di yabar anu rabdu juma rabdu kunzo di yabar toba didas kunzo di yabar inzan tanyadu yabi da teta anu kasore taba minibe se kana rashiji juba taba miniba 가지 타다와라 데도도 따바 미니베스 괜찮 티치스 아니 땡중기 리바티 어제 다시 껴와라 소비 아니 땅은 그 잡았다 줘봐치 그래
따바
미누바서 가자라 파자 가왕 가자라 파자니 여도지 간지를 있으니 오원함 규제를 때네 알아도 중외 또봐 니다시 타녀도 군조도 아는 달라서 봐 또봐 니다 타녀도 그 달라서 봐 니다 따바 미네 와서 아니 알아wan도 주밤 태연도 봐 주바 따바 미네 봐 윤전 지칠 아니 땡중기를 봐티 아니 다시 껴와라 소와 준비 땅은 그 저와타다 접다 접아 치그리.
So then we've arrived at a passage from the introduction to the middle way, which a verse which says, because things arise dependently, arise in dependence, then these thoughts cannot be 똑같이다. 아프미누바.
군접도 안 달라서 와요. 아니 여봐 달라서 봐 똑같이다. 군접도 달라서 와 여봐 똑같이다. Anda rawandu tapar mini be, rawandu chubar mini.
So because things arise dependently, they arise in dependence, then thoughts, the ideas of the self or the I as conventionally existent, as existing phenomenally, the I or the self thought of in that way. These thoughts cannot be conceived in terms of autonomy or existence by means of intrinsic nature. And therefore, this reasoning of dependent origination cuts through the entire net of evil views.
Oh yeah,这送的你录机。那你全部录入去拆解了那么办哦，他得看的嘞是呢，浙江上星期马街吧，是吧？浙江上星期马街吧，今天的那个关系写的，我上星期马街完了，过年送完那些钱的，浙江上星期马街吧，你录入也就拆解了那么办的是，看说的上星期马街写完叫我们搞吧。这些告诉当你今年团的吧，今年的吧，当把你去团的吧，今年的吧，七八万是，当把你去团的吧，让星期当把你让星期马街吧个当把你去团的吧，提其他那个我对那么几天都让星期马街吧当把你去团的吧，提其他那个我那他也都没把了，那把七八万是，当你团。当你天天马多把天天的把钱买银是，现在让星期当把他，安尼让星期也别当把他，几也别当别开不了钱，让星期买钱把当，几日买钱把给开不钱，我那地路主要是给解决了那么吧，你记得把这的。
So this statement here is the unique special property, special teaching of the great being Nagarjuna as well as his spiritual son Aryadeva. This is the special feature of the unexcelled special feature of their system. And so what this special feature is that although when it says things are unarisen, it means that things have not arisen by means of intrinsic existence or intrinsic identity. So what is excluded then is an intrinsic identity or intrinsic existence, but the exclusion of that does not entail the non-existence of arising as such. The same thing is stated in another verse, the same idea is stated in another verse in the basic wisdom.
never check my ins. Don't you turn him out of but never check my ins. So many you turn to about Tiggy. Any or the castle. Cheddar never check my ins. Rather, she might give a tobacco. And give out a never check my race.
So then the verse, the intent of it is that understanding emptiness does not harm or does not negate these things. Here, these things are referring to the arising of things, the existence of things. These properties or qualities of things are not in any way harmed or negated by the understanding of emptiness. That is, understanding emptiness eliminates the notion of intrinsic existence, things arising by means of their own intrinsic existence or intrinsic identity, but it does not negate the simple arising of them. Similarly, in terms of the existence of things, understanding emptiness negates the existence of things by means of intrinsic nature or intrinsic identity, but it does not negate the simple existence of things as such.
Oh yeah. Lini Nani Chimbo, Papa Luruji, Tenaja, Rashinji, Majabagi. Di Ani Lubin Luruji, Chajulana Mebao, Te Chiri Junzen, Te Chiri, Ribanamjin Nane, start down it, Rashima Batala, Ribanamjin Nane, that repeat Jabo Siguari, Tenjung Riba. Ane Tanya Chicha to Sewaki, Niwa Yawa Izang. The Taja Tanya Chicha to Sewaki. Ane then you repeat Jaw, and then you density that, then you repeat Java Chow.
This, then, therefore, here, among various forms of reasoning, this reason of dependent origination should be expressed and is praised as the king of reasons. That is the fact that things arise independently, or they exist dependently, establishes their absence of or lack of intrinsic existence. And because this reason of dependent origination, the fact that things arise in dependence, is able to establish their lack of intrinsic existence, it is able to eliminate both types of extremes and extreme views.
Oh yeah, that you cause a droguji tongue so 가상아도 시원하시네. 나타와 고사라. 아니 야나 돈도기 타까. 돈도지 타까 바다. 돈도지 타까도 간라. 양 쳐달라 말모와. 아니 군도지 타니가 갖고 와 인상. 인상다 돈도지 타다 군도기 탕을 송아텔라. 다 가상아도 시사인 봐. 늘 따와 남다기 고시 좋으니 이데. 따와 남다 깨와라. 안에 고서 좋으니 요아래. 今年学他们家等把的准备，电子机没得建议，大堂。学他们家等把准备，电子机没得建议，大啥？学他们家电子机没得建议是一个了，等把出发准备，大堂。你转到去大哇，大加上转到，你太大基本上学完吧。 大转到是我的怎么在拉下，是吧？的怎么的那我大的转到去到我是住在那边马上吧，住在那边马上吧，他把你抓到吧现场转到去到，去那去也在的开始也那样，也在那些马用，也在的那边马上吧，他把你抓到吧现场转到去到啊，是个的。
So then this leads into the explanation of how it is that dependent origination is able to eliminate both forms of wrong view and the positions that they're based upon, these wrong views are based upon. Then in order to demonstrate that, there's first the identification of the extremes that are held by either superimposition or deprecation of things, and identifying how that serves as a sort of point at which one can go astray in developing the correct view. Each of these extremes that are of superimposition or underestimation or deprecation. Each of them can function as points at which, or operate as points at which one goes astray onto the wrong path and doesn't acquire the correct view. So then, this is explained in the text that where it says here, there are two forms of obstacles to developing in a precise view. And these are the principal points that can lead one astray. The first of these is the view of eternalism, which has as its focal point the phenomena existing as if being held as if they were real. So this is the focal point of misapprehending things as being real. And this extreme of, or this view of eternalism is also called a view which superimposes or exaggerates the status of things. This view arises from not properly identifying the limits or extent to which things actually exist. And in this case, it goes beyond the limit of how a thing exists and exaggerates the existence of the thing or superimposes onto the thing a form of existence that it doesn't actually possess. So this, when it says focal point here, one can take that as meaning the conceived object of the misapprehension of things as being real, which holds, and then this view of eternalism, or the view of that is exaggerating or superimposing upon to things a degree of existence that they don't actually possess, is this holding things to be real.
Oh yeah. That he and I shen you and the number two Rashi you true a day, Yag Droguji Tang Song say Tadi, and he make that can't make that change, make their careers and maybe that's all can you Shiba, Sibiwaka Song, Zila. Ramzan Nagaso, or maybe that's what the careers and Kui Shen you Ranzan you true number two at him. But Shen you number two and Ranzan you true a day. Da beta, and the Tanzi Tata, Tata, Da beta, Drondojita, say Tata.
So then, this is just as was we mentioned yesterday in the discussion of the verse out of the three principal aspects of the path, which says how the understanding dependent origination is able to annihilate the entire resource or source of the holding things as that observes and apprehends things as being real. There, this is in reference to the same thing here. The focal point or the conceived object of the misapprehension of things as being real holds the thing, or the conceived object here is the thing existing intrinsically, or existing by means of its own intrinsic identity. And that sort of when you have that sort of misapprehension of things, one has exaggerated the status of the thing such that it has that misconceived or that falsely ascribed form of existence. Then, so that the thing existing as intrinsically, or the thing existing by means of its own intrinsic identity, that existence itself is the extreme. And then when one has a wrong view which holds to that extreme, then one will incur or be subject to the wrong view which sees the things in that extreme way, the extreme of eternalism, or the extreme of the So then all of these are basically views of things as existing, the view of existence, meaning an exaggerated form of existence ascribed to the thing. Then it also entails an eternalistic view, or a view which superimposes or exaggerates the status of things.
가지 책 마신바 타타네스 가져 레발 마신바 치당오 친한 거 오남이 땡도 라시지 주와도 까고 어레데 라시지 주범 가도 잠바 아니 라신이 여바 가도 갈래 여바야 가네 라신이 개와 가도 갈래 개와야 가네 가서 레바 마슴바 아니 타차네 라신이 개와 가도 개와 가 라신이 여바 가도 여바 가도 잠바 아니 괴단 대부 땡중기네와 아니 라누를 쇼사자네 매바 라신이 마제와 인자 때나 매바 좋고 마제와 저거라 아니 균대징아와 차사 매바 손데 아니 디인당 디민지 아니 숭자자네 매바 오다 매바 테라 아니 때나 매바 따와테라 라신이 맨에 때나 매바 따와테라 쳇다 매다 군도지 따와
So then, on the other hand, if one does not properly apprehend the limit of that which is to be negated, here, so we've already said that things are arising by means of their intrinsic nature. One has to negate that. One has to entirely negate the arising of things via or by means of intrinsic nature. Yet, that sort of negation of arising by intrinsic nature does not negate arising. So in the second alternative here, one goes beyond the limit of the object of negation and exceeds the limit of the object of negation such that one not only negates arising by intrinsic nature, but also negates arising period, or let's say something existing by means of intrinsic nature as the object of negation. Exceeding the limit of that definition of the object of negation would then mean that you would not merely negate the existence of something by means of its intrinsic nature, but would also negate the simple existence of the thing as such. And if one does that, then one exceeds this limit by not properly apprehending it. Then when one comes to the conclusion that causality, the ascertainment of dependent origination in the sense of cause and effect, is not to be brought into one's own system. One thinks that within one's own system, you're not supposed to establish a definitive ascertainment of things like the dependent origination in the sense of cause and effect.
Oh yeah, that 현재 체다다 군대 그 따와 대기 아니 강 송사기 유 때내 매바디 내단 준대라 소와 라시지 메가도 잠바 랜데 매바 아니 매바디 아니 체배 타당 아니 다 가서 군대 기 타당 매바 매다기 타 매타.
So then, this kind of exceeding the limit of the object of negation, not properly ascertaining the boundary of the object of negation, is and then such that one is effectively annihilates the ability to establish cause and effect, dependent origination, and it prevents one from having certainty with respect to dependent origination, ascertaining it definitively. Then that would lead one into a position of a nihilistic view, the idea that you can't establish dependent origination definitively, it leads into that itself is an extreme of annihilationism, and then the view holding that kind of annihilation is a nihilistic view. So one would have a nihilistic view, or this is called also the view of underestimation, one could say, or deprecation. Deprecation in the sense of not properly evaluating the thing that is being observed, and this also is. This is also called the view of non-existence.
Oh yeah, that ngawa tongpa tenjung ki ribe 타니 직자도 세주 생도데 나 타니 다 타니 세라 전도게 타당 군도게 타니오 전도게 타시나 라시지 추와당 라시지 마주 나야 때네 매번 먼저와 아니야 메다사니 라시지 추와 까비 체도 아니 타냐담도 리야 돼 와 나디 대송고하래 세주디 기당 안에 가서 오래서나 깨와다 라시지 마게와다 깨와 지도 송나 다 가서 다진 게 끼어들다 주고 인장 다 등이 고수 레버 고 레버 총화되지나 아니 라시지 매바 내비 로 라시지 매바 내와라 때네 아니 땡중근 나샤 안에 하바를 안에 가바를 체제도 태바 과에 나 땡중라 내와 체대도 줘야 윤대 밀로비수 아니 제배 라시지 동방에와 상기 대화되라 아니 동바 라시지 동방에와 상기 대화되 안 동바 땡중당 땡중 동비튼 수송가
So then, if one is able to avoid both of these extremes, such that one understands that in negating existing by means of intrinsic nature, one is not negating existence. And if one likewise understands that in establishing things as arising due to causal relationships, arising dependently, the fact that they do arise in dependence upon other factors entails that they are empty of any kind of intrinsic existence. These two things are effectively equivalent. And thus, that's what that entails then is that by understanding, when one understands emptiness, it reinforces one's confidence in the dependent origination of things. That is, one's certainty. The more that one understands emptiness as the negation of intrinsic existence, it induces a stronger and stronger certainty about the fact that dependent origination is undeceptive. It is undeceptive that causes give rise to their effects. These causal relationships exist. And then likewise, the more that one understands causality, the dependent origination of things, that things only exist dependently, that sort of certainty, as one's certainty towards that increases, then that equally increases one's certainty and about the fact that they are empty of intrinsic existence, so that the two reinforce each other in this way, as was mentioned yesterday.
Oh yeah, that de la, tani jikja to sezu chani yikjun de songdu de, ane di kasore, shungkorang de di kala tani jikja to sege me sore, rwa me sezu sege me odrechi. Ta teni ni, sta teni ni. 아니 규제라 때는 저부 중앙내라 아니 땡땡이네 규라 때는 저부 중앙팅 저부 등원지 규라 규딜에 규젠딜에 저부 디중라 내와 참비 땡질래 땡질라 때네 땡데기 땡질라 때네 아니 오 가사다우 라시지 주바 까바나 아니 까바나 타데 말루바 방교아레 타 말루바 세나가라 안에 따페 타당 돈도지 타당 군데지 타 말루방 방교아레스 메다양 아니 차다 말루방 방아 인데스 봉당 가르레스나 따타니 셰디가라 댄징 예베스 댄지 가사다우데 아니 댄지 임방 예베 댄진 대와 중앙 예베 차다세고아레 차다당 달 탐정 예배세 탐자 가사라시지 매방 예비 탐제 위통 예배 따다 라시지 좋아 자완의 진비치를 인장 로직이 아니 타니 세와데 디 세위가자 세와데 예송금도 로직이 인장 다로유의 차와기 Atenjung Hebaki Charta Shavadang, Ranshijime Baloid Shavak, and the Tata Tata Zawana Senchim Bichero.
So then the next topic is that the way in which this reason of dependent origination is able to simultaneously dispel all extremes. So this isn't actually stated explicitly in the text here, but it's implicit within the text itself. And it says that those two, that is, those two sorts of extreme views, the extreme view of eternalism, the extreme view of nihilism, annihilationism, the extreme view of existence, the extreme view of non-existence, the extreme view that superimposes a degree of existence upon things that they don't have, the wrong view that underestimates the actual existence of things. These are refuted completely by means of a reasoning that is given here, and it says, in dependence upon the reason, which gives rise to certainty that
no trouble Denzerova, and it Dendela Dene, Rashinji Truba, Burgagi, and the Tamaliva Gagres, Rashin Truba, Setadan, Metaniga Gagres. So, in the Takatan countries and Tatimashagua.
So then, this reason, the reason that that leads one to to a certainty that from these specific causes and conditions, this specific sort of result arises. That sort of reason and dependence upon that, one is able to negate things being established by means of their own intrinsic nature. So this, so if we place this in the form of a syllogism or proof statement, with the person being the subject here, it would be that the person is not established by means of its own intrinsic identity, because, and the reason is because it is a dependent origination. It arises based upon, it arises dependently. And so when one negates something being established by means of its own intrinsic existence in this way, when one's negated it in that way, then all of the various kinds of wrong views that were enumerated above are abandoned. The certainty about the reason, that is the ascertainment of the reason, that dependent origination means that specific causes give rise to specific results. That eliminates the extreme of nihilism, annihilationist view, or the extreme of the wrong view that that holds that things are absolutely non-existent, or that underestimates the existence of things. Then the thesis, which is that the person, the thesis here is the person is not established by means of its own intrinsic existence, is by having certainty about the meaning of the thesis, that is able to, from the root, negate or eradicate the wrong view that is eternalistic. Eternalistic view, the extreme view of existence, the extreme view of superimposition. But all of that collection of views is eliminated. Therefore, the entire proof statement or syllogism because the reason eliminates the annihilationistic view, and because the thesis eliminates the eternalistic view and all of the other associated views, therefore a single cognition eliminates both eternalism and annihilationism, because in understanding this, the awareness of this proof eliminates both extremes. 담차니까.
그래서
댄식당 담차 똑벨로.
대대도 성도가 아니 가서래 따로도 댄식 로유 상황을 때네 아니 체다세 와다. 담자 로유도 상황 라시메 바 로유도 상황을 때네 다다 신청 봐. 신도와 로직 서비스 사장님도와 근데 이제 이중들라 직자도 세와스도와 이나다 지가 와래 도치다 대충선 대치소
디 로직 쓰기 말해
딜라데나 딘디 소지레샤자 로직이 로니레도와 댄징에 로데기 차다세 담장에 로데기 다다자와는 신청 봐.
인 로니로와
담장이로와 란실메 방에 로데라 당이도가 댄징에 차다당 담장에 태영에 다다자와는 신청배 란실메 방에 와당 댄징에 로니를 자기도와
지상 로니로와
아니 이중디 대저선 대자야 요와라 다타니 잘 세워라 자요 와르데 치신데라 다다조야 문도서 치신데왕.
So then in my translation I sort of misstated this, saying that it's like a single cognition that is able to eliminate both views, and that's not explicit here in this this statement in the text. Rather, the way it's explained in the text here is that in the text itself, it says that the ascertainment of the reason eliminates the annihilationist view, and the ascertainment of the thesis eliminates the eternalistic view. So in that case, one wouldn't, if one reads this in this way, as it's explicitly given in the text here, then one wouldn't say it's like a single cognition that eliminates both types of views.
Oh yeah, 근데 인자 단디라 테레스가 좋아요. 가서래. 림보치 사비 또이 나서. 림보치 사비 또이 가서 강군에 님모 받아 나바 총화 테니 나바 참화 테니 마치위 테노스. 강 마치바 테니 동비 테노스. 강 동바 테니 마치위 테니 세네 송하나 시체니. 군에 님 받아 나바 참위 강 임바테 아니 마치바티나 라완도 라신지 마치비 테레스 마치라신 마치비 테레 라신지 마치비 테레 라신지 마치와 스나 라신 마주를 자적으로 봐. 강 마치바테니 땡지 중화 주에 테노스 라신지 메바테 땡중구 테레스 강 땡지 중화 테니 아니 라신지 또 동비 테노 전에 생각하라 동바 땡중당 땡중 동바 아니 어떻게 송거래 치 동바 땡중당 땡중 동비 텐토 두 송거래 치디 뭐 사베 도이티
가서
강군에 녀모와당세 군에 녀모베체 당 아니 군에 녀모베체 두근이오더라 두근이 쏘다 쏘 아니 나바 차위 되 과람러와 강군에 녀보다 남바 창와 테냐 마치비 터노 라신지 마치비 터레 라신지 마주바레
지금 마치비
강 라신지 마치바 테니 땡중기 터레 땡나 중화기 터레 강 땡나 중화 테니 아니 라신지 마치비 터레 동바 땡중다 땡중 동비 터레 순과레.
So there's also a sutra which is called the collection of all the precious things, And this sutra says that all of the things which are included within the side of the afflictions, that is, all the karma, mental afflictions, everything that pertains to samsara on that side, and then everything that pertains to the side of purification, referring especially, like for example, to the reality or truth of cessation, and the path leading to cessation. So these categories of the afflicted, entirely afflicted side of things refers to samsara, and then the completely the purification side refers to the last two of the four truths, Arya realities. Then these are because they don't exist by intrinsic nature, they are therefore they're dependently originated, and that which is dependently originated, So therefore that which is dependently originated does not exist by means of its intrinsic nature. So this sutra as well, although it's not cited in the text here, says the same thing, that when one understands emptiness in the sense of dependent origination, and one understands dependent origination in the sense of emptiness, then one has integrated them together.
Oh, Rangshinji me si ka machi shewa, Rangshinji me shewa ki, ani meba tsamji magwa ba. Ani gyujen, dende naso la deba kowa tang. Rwa, gyujen dende naso la deba kowa tang. Dende yung shewa ki, ani chunga tsamshi mayin ba. 아니 현라라 말 현라라 현칸라야 라말레비 아라왕공 오데 메바 코에 와 오고서
So therefore when it says that things don't exist, or they are not by means of intrinsic nature, that then means that that doesn't entail that they do not exist. It's this not existing by intrinsic nature does not entail non-existence, the non-existence of the thing. Likewise, when one says that things arise in dependence,
라시지 매제베 매바점 맞어봐. 이제나도 덴데나도 라떼바데 코아.
So when we say something doesn't exist by intrinsic nature, that doesn't cause us to understand simply the non-existence of things. Rather, it actually enables us to understand that things do exist by means of various sorts of causes and conditions. The multiplicity of causes and conditions makes them exist. Similarly, when we talk about dependent origination, that doesn't simply, when it says dependently originated in this dependent origination, it doesn't induce simply an understanding that things have originated. Rather, it also enables us to understand that because this origination is dependent, has occurred dependently, and that likewise excludes a kind of autonomous origination or some kind of intrinsic form of origination of things.
Oh yeah. 때내 중 세와기 아니 중화단지 마인바 아니 샹칸라랑 샹칸라야 라말라베 라오용오 여바데 마인바 뭐 샹칸라야 마데베 라오용오 여바데 아니 가서 라왕도 주밤 라시 주비 퇴세 是吧？对我的同学的话，要话呢， kāngla tēne chōng yuwa dīni rāwāng mīngirō dīgī rāwāng mē bā dī tāla tāni tōngba yōma yīn sī kāngla tēne chōng yuwa tēne chōng bā yīn sāng dīgī rāwāng dō mīngirō sī dīgī rāwāng mē bā dī tāla tāni yōba yīn sī kāngla rāwāng dō yōba dī tādu yōba tēng rē sī chānchānglā mā rā mē o sūma nāshī chēne dā dīgī kāsō rē 타니 직자도 세기 요아래데 타니 직자도 세와 다시 직바체 저 체단 직바체 봐 아니 가서 라신님에 봐 로유도 싸워라 때네 아니 가서래 단다디 가르 체다 댄지 로유도 떠와라 댄지 로유도 싸워라 때네 댄지 내가 때네 다중 해서야 되잖아 댄지 해외 체다 세서나 송아 디 댄지 해외 체다 탐정에 따다 자완의 센세. 그러봐. 단단 니기 랑신지 매제베 매바지 아니 매바잠 다치바데 랑신지 매잠 매바잠 마이바 규제 나줘라 떼어도 코바 연상 체다세고 다디기.
덴지기. 담체.
랑신지 매제베 이베제 매제베 매바잠 마제바 규제 나줘라 떼와데 코 제당치라 라 규제 나줘라 떼와데 코에 인장 체다데세 중시베 중화장 마윤 바 현라라양 말라 현칸라야 말병 오 메바트 주바 여자 되게 딱다세와 딱다
So there's two ways of explaining this passage that we've just gone over. One, which is as we've given above already, which shows that the certain ascertainment of the reason that things are dependently originated, that eliminates the view, annihilationist view, and then the ascertainment of the meaning of the thesis that a person or other phenomena is devoid of intrinsic existence. That eliminates the wrong view of eternalism. But one can also invert that such that the certainty of the reason, which is that things are dependently originated, can eliminate the extreme of existence, or the extreme of existence, or extreme of eternalism, and similarly, ascertainment or certainty with respect to the thesis can serve to eliminate the extreme of non-existence. The thesis being that everything, that a person is empty of, doesn't exist by means of intrinsic nature. The way that works is, as was just mentioned. So actually, there's the verse that was that's given below from the 400 verses of Arya Deva says that. Which exists, for which so that
누구 라완 매바데 달아다니 여봐 이제 라완도 마주바 인상 안에 다도 매바래 이자 라완 여바데 다그튼.
So the verse then says that that which exists such that it arises dependently does not occur autonomously. All of these things are not autonomous. Therefore, they don't possess a self. They have no self. Here, self referring to intrinsic existence, etc. So, applying this to the presentation above, we would say that dependent origination here it entails that things are not autonomous, And since they're not autonomous, therefore they so therefore, because they're as the passage from the 400 says, whatever exists such that it arises in dependence has no autonomy. That would then, by understanding the reason in the syllogism given above, that is dependent origination, then that excludes something being autonomous. When it says, when it says something originates dependently, or dependent origination means originating dependently, then there would be, that excludes it being autonomous, the dependently part of it, and therefore that excludes the extreme of existence. And then where it says, these, all of these things which are not autonomous are not autonomous, therefore they have no self. This is comparable to the thesis which was given above, which such phenomena such as person are without any intrinsic existence. And so that absence of intrinsic existence entails a lack of a self. And dikung rama mepate tena tagni yumayin
in the ram menduro
rama mendo
mare telatani yamai the ram mepate telatani ne ram
the damcha la jaguru tak kasa damcha
dani yamayin
tani yumayin
ram the trubeta damcha ram mepate tenatani mi
the damcha la jaguru damcha
rashi mebarwa
dini yuta mare meta sogiwa
meta kada sese
damchi
de tawala kan chago mi rashi yobata mi tawati yotarawa
dini damchi ngeba yuta sochu kaniya damchi ngeba
담장 내배
메타 소와
담장 내바기 단단히 대중에서 제가 랑신지 매세 자체줄라 랑신지 매세가 매바점지 맞춰봐 규제나도 아니 규제나도 대화 코디 잠바 메타세기도와.
So then, so when one has ascertained the meaning of the thesis, the person is not, does not exist by intrinsic nature. The elimination of intrinsic nature there eliminates the fact that the person does not exist by intrinsic nature. Entails that it exists dependently. That if its intrinsic existence is excluded, then its existence in dependence upon extrinsic causes and conditions is necessarily entailed.
Oh yeah, that logic tiny jigjato seju jana that the jigjato 말한다. ni 타니 직자도 세준이 있어야 돼. 아니 땡중 로유도 성화당 담자 로유도 성화 아니 타니 직자도 세와진 따다적거 그래. 좋아. 로직이 타니 직자도 세와지잖아. 단다 로니 샤기도 와. 어디라. 다 로직이 다 된다디. 좋아. 타니 직자도 세자자 로직이 다 타니 직자도 세와 샤고에나 아니 디다다 두고 말이. 이제 타 로직이 된지 세와서야 아니 땡땡제 되라. 아니 땡제 참모 민간 따여 잠지 알아 어제 가서래 뚜루 잠지 땡제 잠 다수 거서나 뚜루 잠지 땡제 잠지 다수 거 보면 로유도 소나 아니 될라 때나 아니 가서 타니 직자도 세와
타니 주소
자주나 시전에 땡 시리가나 충화점 마여봐 아니 생각하라야 라레 말려와디 말려와 코디자마 라 말려와 요와디 코디자마 생라라 레와디 키기로와 시행간라 라레와 크디간라 아니 되게 가서래 전도지 다다다데세 땡중 코랑 노유도 서 정와기 아니 가서래 메다데세 귀찮아서 땡중 코랑 되거나 아니对住咱们前面这帮西，你先来ra来把的多少印章，你也得些，看说的没得这些，对住，但这路都说话转到给啥西，是吧？你中是干了，穷啊的，穷啊咱买一把先ra看了样ra买来吧，买一把的可到底咱把。코디 잠바 아니 정도지 다세
정도지 다세 중
야라라 중화 잠 마인바 태잠 마인바 시안 칸라야라 말레바 마인바 그봐 시안 칸라 시안 칸라야라 말레바 마인바 말레바 여바데 바 이니 가자로와 그봐
중 가자
중 시간라 중화 잠 마인바 시안 칸라야 라 말레바 여바 마인바데 고교아레스 시안 칸라야 라 말레바 여바데 코디 잠바 시안이 칸라야 라 말레바 여바데 가자 인잔 태기 아니 정도 그다 세기도와
네 어디 okay. I got part of that. 가짜 다운 자손한테 타니 직자로
직자로 생각하잖아. 단지 참모도 있잖아. 뒤죽지 단지 이상이 가라. 아니 뒤죽 단지 로이도 저지 잠바 아니 시안 칸라야 라레 마라 말레바데 고그레스 말레바데 라말레바 예 시안 칸라야 라 레바데 고그레스 시안 칸라야 라 레바데 고디 잠바 시안 칸라야 라 말레바 여바데 정도 그 타데 세기와 인장 정도 그 타세와체 땡중 코란 공어 로도 저지 잠바 아니 차다 메다세와
땡단 땡중 가서 투두 로율잖아
땡데 참모데 땡데 참모도 들었어 민간 따위 잠지 따인 땡데지 로율도
민경 따위 sample So this way of explaining dependent origination, as it's given in the text here, it presents it in a way in which dependent origination is understood at the basic level, and when one understands it in that way, one can't say that understanding, gaining the ascertainment of the reason and ascertainment of the thesis, that these two would have to be understood as separate cognitions, which are eliminating separate halves of the two types of wrong views. So that, as it says here explicitly in the text, that the ascertainment of the reason here eliminates the wrong view of annihilationism. That is, dependent origination eliminates the wrong view of annihilationism, and whereas ascertainment of the meaning of the thesis that things are empty or have no intrinsic existence, they don't exist by means of intrinsic existence, that is able to completely eradicate the wrong view of eternalism. However, in the subheading here, that's given not in the main text, but that was inserted into the text, it says that by means of the reasoning of dependent origination, one's able to eliminate both extremes simultaneously. And in order to accomplish that, that is, what this would imply is that a single cognition would be able to eliminate remove both wrong views simultaneously. And in order for this to work here, one has to take dependent origination not in its basic sense of causal relationships or mutual dependent relationships as basically the basic understanding of dependent origination. Rather, one has to understand dependent origination in the subtle sense of contingency. And here, this kind of contingency is particularly has to do with things being merely existing as mere designations, contingent upon their bases of designation, such that so a thing only exists merely as a designation, contingent upon its basis of designation. So when dependent origination is established in that way, and one understands this subtle form of dependent origination, then one's able to, that single cognition of dependent origination is able to eliminate both extremes and the extreme views that derive from the two extremes of existence and non-existence. The way this operates is that when we take the two portions of the term dependent origination, it means, or to translate this more literally, it's originating dependently. In that case,
다 된데 직본로이도 송화라 되나 타니가 세와. 다진데 아니 가서리 된중당 최단치 주자당 로이도 송화당 다 로이도 송화시하러와.
이네 디
된데 참모
데네 중앙서나 그래서 did you get it? What? Yeah, that's clear. But the part about the part that I'm trying to correlate with the two parts of there's the dependent part and the origination part, and the dependent part eliminates the extreme of that's. Yeah. Dependence was not depending upon the idea of autonomy, not depending upon something else. That excludes the extreme, the view of exaggerating things, and then the origination of things. That portion of the compound of dependent origination excludes the extreme of underestimating or deprecating things. But then there was the part about where he's talking about the subtle level of dependent origination, which is things being merely names that are designated in dependence, right? But no, I didn't get, there's something I didn't translate, I'm pretty sure. Because 민캉 딱바참도 두고 추줍 든듯이 민캉
민간점 잡이 던지지 봐라 또봐 따점지 던지지 봐라
또비 따
로이드 산산하세요 아니 로이드 손도 잡아 아니 타니 직자 세그리 세그와래
So then this subtle level of understanding dependent origination, which things existing as mere names, merely as they're designated by thought, then that understanding dependent origination in that subtle sense is able to eliminate both extremes. That single cognition of that subtle level of dependent origination is able to eliminate both extremes simultaneously.
야라 중에 그 난자도 이번 두제가 라라서와 난그 오원남 심바 신도 아니 누구사변라 깨와다 이번 두제가 내야돼 말을 받았다네 중라 라 때네 중 세대 그래 대부 중하라 마제 아니 뜻도 담지 된데 많이 받체 다대 투모가 되지 산자보다 통화가 돼 오마위 조주 투모 많이니 투모 멤버니 가서 우미 조수 투모 멤버니 대다이나 안에 가서 랑그 천이 주와 밑에대 다 줄을 때는 사불을 때는 요구 중화당 아니 니와 돈 말을 받을 때는 도저히 중국이나 안에 랑전지 주와 타그 말이 밑에봐 가이에서나 랑전지 주나 생 강라양 랑 말해봐 인고와래 아니 누구 제와서변 라래봐 니와 뒤제가 내든 언근로 말이 받아 라래봐 인장 대다이나랑 그 천이 주바 밑에대 랑경오 줌나 대두가 랑경오 줌나네 랑라 라왕 그 추도지라신도 주괴외 샹라 라 말해봐게 아니 추도지라신도 주괴외 아니 규제샹라 라래봐데 가위칠 다 대가요 준대대 대중해디 내 말아봐데 마지바세 강라때네 중요봐 강라때네 시리 규제 강라때네 중요봐들라 아니 샹라라 말해봐 말이 샹라라 레바리 샹라라 레바 인자 라왕 공오당 샹라라 말해봐 오 민주로 누구 라왕 매바데 디네 다네 여바인 샹라라 말해 라왕한테 매바 인자 아니 다 생각이와 말이
So then, if we take the presentation of dependent origination, there's two ways of doing that, and one in which is common to also common with the mind-only school presentation of it. And here, when we're talking about dependent origination, we're not talking about the subtle level of dependent origination that was just mentioned. Rather, we're talking about the general sense of dependent origination of things originating in dependence upon causes and conditions, such as sprouts arising from seeds, or such as the activities of karma arising out of ignorance, these kinds of causal relationships. And it says there, therefore, in terms of sprouts and so forth, which are external things, and activities and so forth, or karma, etc., which is internal sorts of things, in sequence, they arise in dependence upon sprouts and so forth, and ignorance, etc. So this is generally the way in which it's held by the Yogacara school, etc., other Buddhist philosophical schools, and but in their way of presenting it, they hold that things must have intrinsic identity in order to operate in these causal relationships. That if things don't have intrinsic identity, then they cannot function in causal relationships. So then. This leads into the unique way in which the Madhyamaka school posits dependent origination. And then it says, if that was the case, it's unacceptable to say that these things are established by means of their own intrinsic identity. Because if something exists or is established by means of its intrinsic nature, or intrinsic nature, then it would have to be established as having a nature which is able to stand up autonomously on its own. Here, so when it says stand up autonomously on its own. This is referring to, again, as said, that the definition of like intrinsic existence is something that does not depend upon another, or something being autonomous is does not depend upon another outside of itself. So if something exists such that it does not depend upon things outside of itself, then it's autonomous. It stands on its own. Whereas, that kind of existence is completely unacceptable within the Madhyamaka school, and therefore it's negated. Therefore, it's said that we say that things don't have that kind of autonomous nature, which is autonomously able to stand on its own. And the reason for that is that it would contradict these things depending upon causes and conditions.
No? Oh, yeah.
So this verse, and then that evidence for that in the text is the verse that we just cited from the 400 of Aryadeva, where it says that that which exists arising in dependence, that doesn't have autonomy. That is not autonomous. All of these things are without autonomy. They're not autonomous. Therefore, they don't have any self. Self here, again, referring to intrinsic existence or some kind of intrinsic nature.
Oh, yeah. That ni kansada pumbo sojang, pumba sojang, kansaja pumba sojang, ani da tena tawi tena tenjung de la tena jungwa dang tena taba ni yubi nane, ani rang chobala tena tawa, dashi chobala tena tawa imbe, kansada pumba soda rangi dashi chobala tena tawa imbe, rang shinji chuwa meba, shewa chade. Tenjung ki tenzi ki namsha ni so si gala ta tenjung raba semzam manja da tumo semzam badam tumo wa ki gula tena chuwi jewu chung ya ki tenjung jidang ani penjun deru jik ani da toba da sam ji tenjung penjun deru ki tenjung tenje ji ki ni yo wa re ni so
penjun deru denjung
denje jidang min toba dazam ji denje jidang shachu jidang then yang gula dene je wu chung ek.
So here then this it shows that since it's the case that persons, pots, etc., are also they are designated in dependence upon their own collections, the collections of the components that compose them. Therefore, one should understand, or because of that, because of being dependently designated, they should be understood as not having any kind of existence that's established by means of intrinsic nature, that they don't exist in that way. And this then shows that there are two presentations of the reason of dependent origination, the reason which is dependent origination. As we said, then the two levels of this, the first level, causality, dependent origination as causality, that is, that things arise in dependence upon their specific causes and conditions. That is a understanding of dependent origination which is common to for example, the Yogacara school, etc., the lower schools of Buddhist philosophy have that an understanding of that kind of that form of dependent origination. But then the more subtle form of dependent origination, mutual dependence or mutual contingency in the sense of things being designated depending upon their bases of designation for their existence, they existing as they are designated upon their base of designation. That's the subtler level of dependent origination.
Oh yeah, that dumba denru ji ji dan ta da jang de da ge guo zu denru ge ji dan ta da yin a dian an de den ju la dan na guo ya de da ge guo zu ni an de ju jian la dan na jie wa tang da den ju cha mo ni yi ben cha ra ni yi ben dan na da wa ju jian la jian na jie wa de dan na da wa kang yin na yang da wa yin na da kang la dan ba ni ju jian la jie wa yin na zhe wu de ju la dan ba tang dan na da wa yin na da shi de la dan ba de wa dan na da wa yin na kang la dan ba de dang wo ni ji zhi wei ji du ni me de wo ni ji zhi wei ji yin na da ka ta shi ye ge an den bi ji zha ge na ge dang na na xin xian ni wo ni zhi wei ji du ni me de ji du yin na an ta de de me ji ji yong gu de de yin na an dan dan ba te ge ma de cha jie ta ji du gu ge cha jie de ji du ju ro.
So then this leads into the reference to the two presentations of the dependent origination as a reason in proving the absence of intrinsic existence. There this then it shows how we're able to negate things being intrinsically identical, that is, existing such that they are that they're really singular, or they're really different, that they're single or different in a way which is established as real. These two forms of dependent origination can negate them being identical or different in a really established way. So where it says here that, then it says in the basic text that things having arisen in dependence, here this is referring again to the dependent origination in the sense of causality, cause and effect, or if a thing is dependently arisen, or if it is dependently designated. Dependently designated again means that a thing is designated in dependence upon its base. The basis of designation. Then the thing upon which it depends, the thing has to be either identical in a way which is established by means of intrinsic nature with So then whether one takes it in dependent origination in the sense of something having arisen in dependence, or something having been designated in dependence, in either case, if it's impossible that thing be identical with that upon which it is based in a way that's established by means of intrinsic nature. And if they were identical in that way, then all sort of agents and actions would become collapsed into one. They would become identical. So here, in the case of causality, if the cause, if the effect was established such that it was identical in a way that's identical with its cause, in a way that's established by means of its intrinsic nature, then it would be completely identical with the cause, and one wouldn't be able to distinguish the cause as the agent which gives rise to the effect of the cause. They wouldn't be able to have that kind of relationship. And similarly, in terms of the functionality of designation and basis of designation, the designation depends upon its basis of designation, and if that which is designated was identical in a way that by means of its own intrinsic identity with the basis of designation, then they would become strictly identical, and the basis of designation could not function as it could not function as a basis of designation, because it would be the designation. The two would be completely identical.
Oh yeah, that what Chili na the said. That thing, Kana Damba Dang, or the Wadana Java, the Kana Damba, you would then the Damba knew it. Only to be Shanduyan, you are Maris. Rashi to be Shanduyan, you are Maris. Rashi to be Shan, Kondu Shaba Nashi, you're not Java Gone New Bears. Rashi to be Shandu made it, Rashi to be Shan, that or Jimmy Tashan. Java Punching Java Mabashiko, Java Gone New Bear. And the Java Mena, and the day, or Java Jula Deva Dang. Any Dambadeka, any Kala Dessa de la Dambadeka. The United Java Gone New Bear.
So, likewise, these two things, the thing which is arisen from a cause, the effect, or the designation, which it depends upon its basis of designation, could not be other than the effect could not be other than the cause by means, in a way that's established by means of intrinsic nature, or the thing which is the designated thing could not be absolutely other than the basis of designation in a way which is established by intrinsic nature, because if they were, then one would be able to negate any kind of relationship between them. That is, if they're intrinsically other, if the effect is intrinsically other than the cause, and if the thing designated is intrinsically other than the basis of designation, then one would be able to negate any sort of relationship at all among them, and it would also and by being able to do that, one would contradict their being contingent upon that. That is, the effect is contingent upon the cause. It only arises when the cause has occurred, and the designated, the thing designated is contingent upon its basis of designation. It doesn't occur without the basis of designation.
Oh yeah, that and that condition between then I give it down, then I dive then the castle, then you near Kana Damba down, all need to be Jita Tata Kayam, my body. That little Lunguma to go said it. Jabata that little Kushuna Sumba knees. Zashile, Kana Dana Kanjuma Teniri Shitini means. You get it then at Shuma 칸라 때네 따비 아니 최이나 칸라 때네 칸총와 대체 칸인 바 되니 레시 되니 미 아니 라왕 주비 되니 말에 라왕 용 어디 라왕 어디니 말에 라왕 용 어디래 아니 샴바야 말에 라왕 그 샴바야 말에 마이나야 아니 가서래 마이바 대실이 아니 체미 땅마이 아니 라왕 매배 아니 체발나 와야 말했지 라왕 아니 라왕도 맞주바이야 아니 타단 맞아와야 말했어 라다바 타단 잡았어 대인지를 봐지라 대지 체미 땅마이
So this explanation of dependent origination in terms of causal relationships as well as the dependent relationship of designation and the base of designation, that these are also the explained in the texts of the Master Nagarjuna as well. So as it says in the basic wisdom, that which arises in dependence upon something is to that extent not that thing. And it's also not other than that thing. Therefore, it's neither annihilated nor is it eternal. This means that something that which arises on something. Here, for example, an effect arises in dependence upon a cause, or one could say that the designation exists in dependence upon the basis of designation. To that extent, that means that they don't have any kind of character of autonomy. There's the thing which is dependent upon the other thing has no sort of autonomous nature or autonomous character. So, because it's not autonomous, it's
Tenireshik terimi tenzi jungwa yujian tenne dawam yujian la tenne shungwi wa kanyin ba teni ane rangung oyo chubi tini mare
So it doesn't have any kind of identity, sort of, it's not that very thing, that is the effect, does not have some kind of autonomous character that makes it the cause, and likewise the designation does not have a kind of autonomous character which makes it identical with the basis of designation, and it also doesn't have any kind of autonomous character that makes it other than that. It doesn't exist in some way such that it is autonomous apart from that cause or from that basis of designation, and therefore it's not annihilated, and it's also not eternal.
Oh, yes, oh, yeah. This is semitama mishetam. That Luduki Jidan and the Debakian, Lundma Changudu. Jidan let Deba Lejang, Dunga Rangi Chawata, Shenji Cheta, Nigache, Jumepani Togeto, Chinitanji Java Chonsung, Dunga Rangi Chawa, Sigalada, Tashi Java Kalang, Ane, or Dala Java Kalang, and Shenji Chava, and then Ane Dada Shenji Chava. Ani Jumeba de Ani Tokite Stadi Tangenda, Stuguarva, Oye, Chirovata, Jumebani Tokite, Ranzani to be Julejavate. Chuni, Denjin Java Chuni, Chuni Denjin Java, Dena Chung, Ani or Mingan Tayo Zamji, Ani Kasore, Juletene Java Chuni Denjin Java Chung, Denjin Java Chung Song, Chuni Dena Chung songs. Denjin Jejung Kanchung, Denan Java Kanchung, Denjin Jejung Kanyba, said Denjin Java Chikdamidayong, Denjin Jejung Kanyba, Denjin Java Chung Kanyba, Teni, 아니 춘이 라신지 동바시 춘이 라신 동바시 대니 춘이 아니 라신지 동바시 그래 오람 아니 아라왕 현라라 말레비 오예바 미시 아니现在年把买把给等把出去，俺的生给扎，俺们出去生给扎，呀。
So then this also, so in addition to that verse from the Basic Wisdom, there's also Arya Nagarjuna's praise to the transcendent, that which transcends the world. And in that it says that suffering is held by sophistic philosophers, sophists, to be made by oneself, or here it's literally logicians, but meaning people engaged in faulty forms of reasoning. These philosophers hold that suffering is made by oneself, or is made by another, or it's made by both, or it arises without a cause. So these different kinds of positions, the idea that the suffering is created by oneself, or that suffering is created by some other agent, or that it's created by both, or that it has no cause. These positions were held by various kinds of philosophers, such as the Samkhya school and so forth. And however, then Arya Nagarjuna here is praising the Buddha, saying that you have explained that suffering arises in dependence, and that which arises in dependence. And this line here can be taken as in the sense of that which arises in dependence, in the sense of causality, that suffering arises from causes and as an effect, or one can take it as that which exists in dependence. In the sense of suffering being designated upon a basis of designation, existing in that way as a mere name, or as something which is merely nominally existent. That sense of existing in dependence, in depending in that sort of relationship, then you have called that emptiness. You have asserted that is emptiness, and then it says that things do not have any autonomy. Autonomy means, as said before, not depending on another, a way existing in a way which is not contingent upon or dependent upon another, something else. This is your lion's roar. You who are incomparable. So Arya Nagarjuna there is addressing the Buddha as the incomparable one who gives forth this lion's roar.
Oh yeah, tam dosira. Yamme chuji senge ja, xie denji denji jidan ta de tang, da jie ji ta. Ani ta 他在国外的看了的呢，看就把天气利息天气民写的个，但既然他在国外的利息天气推民写的了，你个家出国了，让心里只为这个天气啊没，让心里只为天气啊没，这个家人呢都这，我这个那这个兄弟个，俺那看说的，但这几大姐既然他在堂，但天天大家个他你，他干嘛切的？ 但那没把个他当，俺那让心里指标个，俺那大把的干啥的？第几了？俺那几天人的对吧？这个东岸上个切哇，咱现在现在一个切是一个他西结哇，大家给他的他因为他西是一个啦，俺今天用我话那让个剧团呢原本结哇的啦，原来结哇的啦，俺那他看说的打来结哇，上个切哇打来结哇。 아니 랑당 아니 랑전지주 주显来接我台了 아니 显来接我 랑전지주大显你个来接我台了你个来接我 아니 주면来接我的就来马德巴的 아니来주면 되와 장변게 되와 나 신체니 된다위 아니 다시 좀 봐야 집이 다시 좀 봐야 과바 순서
So then these verses from the praise to the one who transcends the world, these show then that by means of this, teach that by means of the reason of dependent origination here, the dependent origination, which as we said could be taken as either the causal form of dependent origination that effects arise from causes, or the form of dependent origination as things existing merely as they're designated upon their bases of designation. With those forms of dependent origination as a reason, one negates holding things. One negates that things are either intrinsically identical with their with their causes or with their bases of designation, or that things are intrinsically different from their causes and or bases of designation, and that way one's able to with the reason of dependent origination, one's able to negate those two forms, those two positions, as well as one can also negate the extremes of eternalism and annihilationism. The extreme that things exist in an eternalistic way, that exist in a way which exceeds the way they actually exist, or the extreme of annihilationism, that things don't exist in any way whatsoever. They're completely non-existent. Those extremes can be negated, and then also one can negate the apprehension of things as arising in four extreme ways. The four extreme ways here are things arising from a self, in a self which exists by means of its own intrinsic identity. Things arising from another, which has its own intrinsic identity, that self and other, or the things arising from a combination of both self and other established by means of intrinsic identity, or finally things arising without any kind of cause, things just occurring without causes, the appropriate causes giving rise to them, such as is held by the Lokayata school of materialists. So one's able to negate all of these kinds of misapprehensions of the ways things arise.
Oh yeah, that is la. One not penzi, choice chavi tawa ngazuni. Rashi ji tomba dang. Ane nawa ane judan dewi naga juneji dewa. Oh penzi choice. 차로에 따와 가주니 대다 천진지 밑에 타다게 동비스 아 천진 아니 라신지 주가 준비 좀 봐 된진기 밑에 세가나 아니 그 현유 밑에 타다게 동 현유 아니 담바 주어 뭐랑 그 천진지 주에 동비 타다게 동비 동이랑 동이진 야바 장네 라신지 동바 인장 아니 귤에 대우 중에 아니 가서래 균에게나 샤바 태바 인자 대라병 내와 차니 라시지 동바 니지 내와 차네 렌데지 대와 렌데 귤에 대우 중에 아니 균에지 대위 내와 미도르베 돌렌 땀바다 신도 아데 아니 가서래 주 동아지 주 아니 뽕와당 대외주 아니 개와 렘바 땀발라 아니 시도난 아파데 다디 가서 공대라 차 아니 자주선 의료가 자주선 장교하래. 야.
So then, thus, in that way, by giving rise to certainty, that certainty by means of the emptiness here, emptiness, which is things being empty of all of the sort of focal points of misapprehension of the signs of things. So this kind of emptiness, which is the emptiness which is devoid of all of the focal points of the misapprehension of the signs of things. Here, this is this sort of focal point being like grasping at things as being real in a way that they don't actually exist. So having
so
these focal point of the misapprehension of signs is again the conceived object of the misapprehension of things as being real, as existing in a way that they don't actually exist. That kind of emptiness, by means of that, one develops certainty, and then without giving up one's certainty with regard to the causal relationship, the relationship of cause and effect, and specifically karma and its results. That is, that virtuous karma give rise to happiness, non-virtuous actions give rise to suffering. Then, without losing that certainty, yet having this certainty with respect to emptiness, that the emptiness in the sense of things being devoid of all of the focal points or the ways in which they're conceived by this misapprehension of things as being real. Then if one engages in practice, the practice of abandoning that which is to be gotten rid of, faulty kinds of behavior, as well as taking up the kinds of things that one should engage in, and stabilizing that, making that very firm, that's highly praised. And then there's a verse from the commentary on Bodhicitta by Arya Nagarjuna, which describes that.
Oh, yeah. 다 장주쌤들 가서 간대선 거래 잖아. 천은 동반 디시나. 천은 안에 라신지 주의. 안에 동반이 디시나. 시내 라신지 주바 동반 시바 인장 라신지 주의 동반라 안에 귤레때네 대부 중아. 라신지 미도나 안에 귤레때네 대부 미중. 가서 라신지 마도나 라 귤레때네 대부 미중아체. 라 아니 가서 라신지 동반라 규단 대부 중. 라신지 미도마라 규단 대부 미중아. 가데 디다 군도나 중앙 매진 집밤에 파베 담바 시원나 첼라메바 타와 귤 전에 아니 랑기바 맨제기 탄주와라 라시지면은 매고래 매나 아니 라시지면은 규단 대위 나셔 태그 말이 규단 대위 나셔 마제나 주군중라 아니 군중라 때는 저우도 된 중화다 규람대라 때는 저우도 고단 토바 미스그레 제 견저발라 아니 탄주비 가도 되게 메도나서 라신이 메도나 아니 중앙 매진 집밤에 파베 덴바시오나 켈라메바 타와 집에 렌자와나 시체니 디야양 라신이 동번 디시나 동바이나 아니 레단 저 덴바캉 유게와 쳐발라 때는 저 아니 대와 미게와 쳐발라 때는 저 동아 아니 중앙 아니 규단 저비 나다 탐지 아니 책에서 와자외 장 태바데 와사와래 장 와사와 매도 중화라야 디 매도 중화래
So then this verse says that having understood this, that phenomena are empty, here this emptiness of phenomena, then one who relies upon cause and effect, or that understands that or that karma and its results depend in this way. That is, that virtuous karma gives rise to virtuous effects, virtuous results, and that non-virtuous karma gives rise to suffering, that virtuous karma gives rise to happiness, and non-virtuous karma gives rise to suffering. Sees that. Here where it says that understanding this fact that that phenomena are empty, or the emptiness of phenomena, elsewhere Arya Nagarjuna has said that he said that he presents a debate between other Buddhist philosophers and his own position. And the other philosophers, this would include even the Swatantrika Madhyamikas and all the other Buddhist philosophers, would say that if everything is empty, then it doesn't arise and it doesn't disappear. And if things don't arise and disappear, then the Four Noble Truths could not exist, because the Four Noble Truths are two sets of things that have causal relationships. That is, the suffering arises as an effect of its cause, the origin of suffering, and then the cessation of suffering arises based upon the path which enables it to occur. So the other philosophers all say that if everything is empty, then you can't establish these causal relationships. If things don't have some kind of real identifiable nature, then one can't establish one can't give a presentation of the causal relationships that would enable the Four Noble Truths to operate with each other. But then Arya Nagarjuna replies to that by saying that if all these things were not empty, then nothing would arise and nothing would disappear. And if that was so, then the Four Noble Truths would not be demonstrable, could not exist. So what he's saying then is that if things don't possess intrinsic nature, they don't have any kind of intrinsic nature, then they can operate in causal relationships, so that, for example, suffering can arise from non-virtue, and happiness can arise from virtue. Those sorts of relationships can operate. And likewise, the four Arya Truths likewise are able to operate, are suitable. So then the verse here continues saying that one who, having understood that all phenomena are empty, depends upon karma and its results. There's nothing more amazing than this. And there's what could be more marvelous than this?
Oh yeah, that talking about it. Imagine what I want. Imagine what I imagine. So that one that shows you. And dagi chini save ke wade dandan jowa kuna kambenda jabo chino san. Dembin bodin do saji sho.